Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Reality Is, where words do come to life. Well, as you can see where I'm sitting, and I'm sitting in this facility intentionally because that's what our justice system represents. They are full of the stuff that we deposit in this room. This video is about the recent turn of events where Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted of all charges as relate to taking lives that were not his to take. Individuals who have a right to peacefully protest that were not armed with no weapons, and then a 17-year-old armed with an assault rifle snuffed two of their lives out and left one person paralyzed. Now, are we surprised? No, we're not surprised. Again, it's white privilege, as we've said many times before. We have a flag that hangs up on many poles, many judicial systems, many schools, many courthouses, and it's red, white, and blue with a bunch of stars. For me, the flag is supposed to represent diversity. And as I've said many times before, the flag needs to be stripped of the stars and the stripes and just left all white, because that's what we're dealing with right now. I knew that it was going to go this way when the judge, as you all know, whatever courtroom you go into, you are asked to silence your phones. And for the judge to play number 45's campaign song, we already knew that was the first hint that it was not going to go the way we thought it was. The second thing for me and probably others, when he allowed him to pick his juror, the rest of his juror, which he said that was the normal thing for the judge to do. The third thing that solidified what was going to be the end result, when you said there were 11 white jurors and one color. That should have let you know that this was going to be the end result. Now, as we look over the evidence, as we listen, as the judge didn't want the other side to use victim and certain words, and you yelling and screaming, it also let us know that our judges are not as honest. It lets us know that our judges does not honor the oath of office. It lets us know that our judges are not fair. And it further solidifies why our judicial system has so many black and brown behind bars. Now, the problem for me in all of this is, here is a 17-year-old who's not of legal age, who's traveling from Illinois to Wisconsin, a state in which they do not reside in. So that means that's an intentional travel from one state to the next, to get involved in something that has nothing to do with you as a 17-year-old. But let's go a step further. The 17-year-old is still considered a minor. So that means an adult individual who's an authority, which we know is his mother, transported him from one state to the next. Now, you got to know this was a setup. First of all, how can you be in defensive mode when you're not in the middle of it from the beginning? How can you be in defensive mode? How can you be in defensive mode when this is not your protest? And how can you be in defensive mode, and how can it be declared as defensive mode when you have an assault rifle that clearly shows in the video that you're walking down the street freely without anybody stopping you, without any approach from a police officer or none of that? So how can you make it seem that this was self-defense? How? Nobody gives life except for the mother who births the child. And nobody has a right to take life. I don't care what it is. This land is supposed to stand on constitutional laws, rights, human rights. And as we have seen as of late, when we saw with Trayvon Martin, when George Zimmerman took it upon himself to approach a young man because he had a hoodie and some Skittles, and you want to be the authority and the police officer for the neighborhood. And then when you all let him off, you found out that he was an abuser and everything else. But yet and still, you say that this country is governed by laws. This country is governed by fairness. There is no racism, really. But as we have seen as of late, racism is at an all-time high, and it is real. And so what you all have done with Kyle Rittenhouse is confirm the fact that white people can do what they want, how they want, when they want, and get away with it. And every person that took an oath of office to be just and fair is not justice, and they're not fair. It was set up from the get-go. You had people that came, even famous people, that came out of the woodwork to pay for his bond. Now, let's flip the script here. If Kyle Rittenhouse was black and he traveled from Illinois to Wisconsin and killed 2 people and paralyzed a 3rd, there would be no question. He will be not in the jail, but up under the jail, ready for lethal injection. And you want people to trust this system. You want people to believe in its fairness. You want people to believe in due process. Well, due process went out the window. It further went out the window. The first time that due process went out the window was George Zimmerman. Yeah. The second time that speaks volume was the insurrection at the Capitol. And some Republicans, officials were involved in that. And the one that was the icing on the cake is Kyle Rittenhouse. The crime was phony and fake. And it amazes me that such a hideous crime has been painted that he was in self-defense. But let's take it a little bit further. You got to know this was already pre-planned. He's a 17-year-old. He's underage. Let's bring him. Let's talk to his mother. She brings him over. We give him an assault rifle that people are walking down the street and you're antagonizing them. And if you antagonize somebody and you're in their space, quite naturally there's going to be an interaction. So you provoke the interaction, and then you use that provoking of the interaction and the response that you got, you justify it by allowing him to pull an assault rifle and shoot an individual point blank with no flinch and no nothing. He's just walking the street freely. The same way when they was protesting for Breonna Taylor, that the husband and wife was standing on the side of the road with their guns pointing at people that was peacefully protesting. And you all can justify this? You can make this okay? You think this is okay? Well, it's not. And people are tired. And I'm going to say this. If you let him go home, damn it, open up every prison across these United States and let the black and brown go home. Now we know you can push a trial forward. He was 17. Nobody is still, he didn't sit in jail a night. 17. He's 18 now of legal age. He should be up under the jail, not outside. That was not self-defense. I don't care how you paint it. And so you all, the judge, the attorneys, those individuals who paid for it, his mother, you all knew what you were doing. Everybody who was involved in allowing their child to cross from one state to the next and tried to justify and make it seem like he was defending himself. What was he defending himself from? Did he even know what the march was about? Was he aware? Or was he just a pawn on the chessboard because he was underage and the grown folks decided to use him for their selfish gain, which turned out to work out well? You all playing the judge, you playing the jury, you playing it all. You playing it all. Because ain't no way in hell that child, now that adult who's of legal age, should have walked out that courtroom a free man. So I'm saying to every state's attorney, I'm saying to every judge, I'm saying to every governor, I'm saying to every prosecutor, every private attorney, unleash, unlock, unload the prisons. Because if you can let the white folks kill up anybody, unlock the doors. We no longer have a justice system. Y'all blew that. You shitted on it. That's why I'm sitting in this room right now. You have shitted on the right. You have shitted on fairness. You have shitted on transparency. You have shitted on honesty. And you have shitted on your oath of office. And when you take a life that is not yours to take and have somebody with an assault rifle and you justify that and the jurors go right along with it, what have we come to? Now we have become a dictatorship. This is no longer a free government. Well, it was really never free. Not for us. Nothing for us is free. Nothing. Now we know when they see us is real. It's real. It's so real. Now we know it's not just the police. We know this. It's played out before our very eyes. Judges who sits on a bench, who took an oath of office, tells an attorney who's defending the lives that was stolen, who's defending the life that was paralyzed. Don't use the word victim. They were a victim. When you take an assault rifle and shoot somebody, that makes them a victim. It's not self-defense. They're not on your property. Matter of fact, you was on their property. You was on their grounds in the area in which they resided in. Kyle Rittenhouse didn't live in Wisconsin. He lived in Illinois. So why did he have his ass in Wisconsin? Why did his mother feel the need to take him there? It was all planned. It was all plotted. It was all set up. Courtrooms say silence your phones. Again, that was the first alert to let you know how it was going. The second one, when they took a picture of him picking the rest of his jurors. And the third one, when they said there was 11 whites and one person of color. So that lets you know there was no diversity. They handpick those who they can sway to make the decision. Now I want to know how you all will sleep at night. Because you know what? Karma is real. Reaping and sowing is real. What goes around comes around. And the one person that you all can lie to, manipulate, and deceive, and that is God. So you wonder why we still sit in the midst of COVID-19? These are the reasons why. These are the reasons why. We have to fight the hardest to prove our innocence. And you all use your money and your clout and the judges that you pay to sit in your back pocket, or the money you pay up under the table. That child had no business walking away because it was not self-defense. All the evidence showed differently. But again, when you're paid to play, you're going to go with the people who pay you. And none of this was fair. None of it whatsoever. So he was allowed to move from one state to relocate for his life. Well, I have no sympathy. I have none. I have none. I have no sympathy for anybody who misuses the justice system, who use it at an advantage. And those who have money, who know that individual is wrong, and you go right along with it, you're no better than anybody else. So for every state's attorney and your counterparts that works up under your offices, for every judge, chief judges, for every private public defenders, and those who sit in authoritative positions that make the decision on people's lives, you need to stop the lethal injections, because you already done broke it. You done broke every rule in the book. Right no longer exists. It's only about color. And that's what we've seen with Breonna Taylor, with your George Floyd, with your Laquan McDonald, with your Tamir Rice, with your Trayvon Martin, with your Sandra Bland, with your Fidel Castile, with your Aubreys. You know, that's all we see. We don't get no justice. It's just us. It's just us. And it's time out. But I'm going to pray for y'all, because y'all truly need Jesus, because y'all going to take a roller coaster ride to hell, sliding in with gasoline draws on. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. You get by, but you don't get away. You don't. You do not. And it just proves that the scales of justice are not balanced. And justice is truly blind. And we living in 2021 where racism is at an all-time high. And it's played out before our very eyes. Now, I want to know what those who are rulers and super rulers, where is the appeal for the decision? You need to move it to another state and run that trial again, because that wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. And if you don't have a jury that's diverse and balanced, and it's all white people, and then you say one color, how can you get the correct verdict? But it was set up. It was set up from the get-go. And nobody was surprised. And when your own people come out and make mention about this trial, it speaks volume. But we've been going through this forever and a day. So I'm saying, don't take another life in lethal injection. You need to open up across these 50 states and review a lot of cases. You need to let these individuals go home for the holiday so they can be with their family, like Kyle Rittenhouse ugly ass is with his. Bottom line. And I'm not budging on this one. This is a shitty situation. Hence why I'm sitting in the shitty department where all the shit goes when it comes through. Yeah. That's why I intentionally made this video in this facility, in this room, because it speaks to what happened on the other day. And you all should be ashamed of yourself. This all the way up to the president. If this is what's allowed in this country, there ain't no hope for us. There ain't no hope. What else can you take? What else can you take? But yet instead you don't like us, but you want to get this color. I can't understand. The boy was primed and guided what to say and what to do. 17 years old. How was that his fight? Why was he there? Why with an assault rifle? Why did you say it's self-defense? Nobody approached him. He approached them. They was peacefully protesting, minding their business. You didn't snatch some mother's child. A life that was taken was not yours to take at all. And then y'all want to pat him on the back. So what you're saying to us, you want to raise up more Kyle Rittenhouses so they can do the same thing the next time somebody protests. Be careful, because it might not pan out the way you think it'll pan out. Because people do get tired. They do get fed up. And when you show their hand, you show your hand, they start to see what cards you are dealing. And they start to understand your deck. And they start to play with them cards and do what they need to do. And they will win the game. Y'all, it's sad that you sit in these judicial court seats of authority with the gown and the gavel. And on your walls you say, "In God we trust." Y'all gonna bust hell wide open. So wide open. And if this don't cause you to step up to the plate for anybody that's black and brown and speak your voice and let them know that you're not in acceptance to how things have played out, I don't know what will. I really don't. So I'm going to conclude this video because somebody may think I'm just sitting here for nothing. And I'm going to show you what I feel about this conversation. that's how I feel about our justice system. They're full of shit, and we need to flush all their asses out of it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe.